In today's video, we're talking about a place where astronauts live and conduct scientific experiments while floating around in zero gravity. Well, if you haven't guessed it yet, it's the International Space Station. And there's so much to discover about this incredible feat of human engineering, from its massive size to the amazing view from its windows. We've got 10 interesting facts about the ISS that will leave you in awe. Let's start off with how incredibly fast it moves. So it's not as speedy as the Parker Solar Probe, but it's still pretty fast, as it zooms around the Earth at 17,500 miles per hour. That's like traveling around the entire planet in just 90 minutes, which means astronauts on board witness a jaw-dropping 16 sunrises and sunsets every single day. To put things in perspective, the distance from Earth to the Moon is approximately 250 miles. Back in 1969, the Apollo 11 astronauts took around 3 days to reach the Moon. But guess what? If the ISS were to hit the Moon, it could make a round trip in just about a day. And that's like traveling at about 23 times the speed of sound. At the second spot is the water filtration system. We all know that water is essential for survival, and things get a little tricky when you're in space. Up there, they have a limited water supply, so every single drop counts. That's why the ISS has an extraordinary water filtration system. It's so good that you can turn urine into drinkable water. Yeah, it's not a rumor. Astronauts actually drink their own urine. But don't worry, it's not as gross as it sounds. So the water recovery system takes in urine from the astronauts and lab animals, as well as condensation in the air, and recycles it into clean, safe drinking water. It's so impressive that they have a water recovery rate of about 93.5%. Now, thirdly, you can even spot the ISS from the Earth. So the ISS can't really see you. But as long as the sun isn't out, there's a good chance you'll be able to catch a glimpse of the space station in the sky. It's so bright that it's the third most visible thing in the night sky after the Moon and Venus. The best part is that the space station orbits over 90% of Earth's population centers. So there's a good chance you can spot it if you know when and where to look. NASA's Spot the Station service and other websites and apps can help you track its movements and send you alert when it's visible in your area. All you need is a clear sky and you're good to go. Next up, at number 4, let's talk about how people on the space station experience time slowly. So remember how we told you that it's super fast? And you know how time relativity works. The faster you move, the slower time feels. Although the ISS isn't super fast compared to the speed of light, it's still moving fast enough to experience this time dilation effect. So if an astronaut or cosmonaut spend a year in the space station, they would technically age about 1/100th of a second less than us folks on Earth. It may not sound like much, but it means they're kind of time traveling into the future, just a tiny bit slower than the rest of us. At the 5th spot, let's discuss how it was built by 5 agencies and 15 countries. When they first started building the station, it was just the United States and Russia working together. But over time, more countries and organizations joined the party. Now the International Space Station has been built and crewed by 5 main agencies. That's NASA, Russia's Roscosmos, the Canadian Space Agency, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and the European Space Agency, which includes almost 11 countries. Each country or organization gets a certain amount of space on the space station based on their contribution. So far, astronauts and visitors from 18 different countries have been on board, including the member nations and about 7 other countries. The 6th interesting fact about the space station is that it has a robot crew member as well. So NASA's Johnson Space Center created a robot called Robonaut 2, or R2 for short. So this guy has been on the ISS since 2012 and is designed to be a helpful assistant to the crew. This robot is so advanced it has sensors, vision systems, and hands that are almost as dexterous as ours. R2 can do repetitive or dangerous tasks like to test out new ideas and prepare for future missions, so the crew can focus on important work and stay safe from potential risk. Next up, at the 7th spot, is the size of the International Space Station. It's massive, almost as big as a football field. It's 357 feet long and weighs nearly 1 million pounds. Inside, there's a huge space of say about 32,800 898 cubic feet, mostly used for storing equipment. On top of that, it has sleeping quarters, bathrooms, and even a gym for the astronauts to stay fit. The coolest part is the cupola, a windowed module where astronauts can marvel at Earth from the space. And guess what? They're planning to expand the space station with 3 more modules. At number 8 is the fact that it will remain operational till at least 2030. However, the future of the station after 2030 is a bit uncertain. Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, has expressed its intention to leave the ISS due to aging technology that goes beyond its original mission design. But that doesn't mean Russia is giving up on space stations altogether. They have plans for a new space station called the Russian Orbital Service Station, aka ROS. And well, NASA is also working with commercial partners to create additional space stations in low Earth orbit. So the ISS might just get a few new neighbors soon. Next up, let's discuss how the International Space Station is facing a constant threat from space trash. Over the past 2 decades, there have been about 30 close calls with space debris. And now, NASA estimates that there are about 500,000 smaller debris pieces, each about the size of a marble, zooming around up there. And believe it or not, in 2021, such a small piece of debris actually hit the Canadarm2, which is a robotic arm on the outside of the station. The arm still works, but it got a hole punctured through it like a bullet. Well, the good news is that space agencies are actively working on solutions to clean up with satellites like the ELSA-D for a cleaner and safer space. And last but not the least is the legal system of the space station, which is a bit complicated. So the station operates under the Intergovernmental Agreement signed in 1998. An astronaut at the ISS may be subject to different laws from different countries. But to simplify matters, there's an inter-party waiver of liability among the member nations. This means that they won't hold each other accountable for incidents or damage during normal station activities. Any claims that do arise are handled through mutual agreement among the partners. And with that, it's a wrap on our list of 10 interesting facts about the International Space Station. So, what did you find the most exciting? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our future content. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.